Most men do not stop and ask the most important question when they meet a new woman. They see a lady who has lived on her own for 5 years, or maybe 10 years, and they make a very big mistake in their thinking. They think that all those years were just empty blocks of time where nothing happened. They look at her and think she was just sitting there, like a car parked in a dark garage, just waiting for someone to come along and turn the key to start the engine. They imagine she stayed exactly the same inside her heart, as if her feelings and her mind didn't grow or change at all during those long seasons of being alone. But that is simply not how we work as human beings. We are a lot like trees that grow and bend depending on the weather that is happening around us. A woman does not live for many years without a warm hug, without someone to hold her hand, without the feeling of being truly wanted, or without a person to share her deepest thoughts with and stay the same. Her body and her mind start to find ways to get through the quiet times. Some women find that their hearts become a little bit colder, like a house where the heater has been turned off for too long. Some become what we might call very independent. This really just means they feel like they have to do every single thing by themselves because they don't think anyone else will ever be there to help them. Some learn how to keep their physical needs in one small box and their feelings in another box. They do this so well that being open and showing who they really are starts to feel like a scary thing to do. And some women hide their feelings of being lonely so deep under their work, their daily chores, and their busy schedules that after a while, even they don't realize the sadness is still there. This is the part of the story that nobody really talks about. The woman you are standing across from today might be a completely different person than the girl she was before those years of being alone changed her. Those quiet years have reshaped her inner world, changed how her body acts when she is stressed, and shifted the way she looks at men. If you do not try to understand what happened during those silent years, you might look at her and see someone she isn't. You will misunderstand her completely. So before we go any further, I want to ask you something. I would love for you to share your thoughts with me. Have you ever met a woman who had been single for a very long time and felt like it was hard to get close to her heart? It's almost like there was a wall you couldn't see, but you could definitely feel it was there. This is because most people only see what is on the outside. Our world has created a very pretty and polished story about women being single. We hear people talk about things like finding yourself, or healing journeys, or reaching goals in your career. We see photos of solo trips to beautiful places and talk about how wonderful it is to be a woman on her own. Everyone cheers for the parts they can see, the big promotions at work, or the fun hobbies. But almost no one talks about the parts you can't see. No one talks about the part of our bodies that needs other people. No one talks about the emotional part that still hurts when the party is over. The phone stops ringing, and she has to climb into a big, empty bed night after night, year after year. That silence in the house matters much more than people realize. A woman doesn't stop having human needs just because there isn't a partner in her life. Her body still wants to feel a soft touch. Her inner self still wants to be close to someone. Her mind still wants to feel understood, loved, and special. Being a person who feels desire isn't like a light switch that you can just flip off when it's not easy. Those feelings don't go away. They just go into hiding. They move deep down. That is why waiting is never neutral. It's not just time passing by. The longer a person lives without closeness, the more their whole system starts to change to get used to not having it. Some women might feel grumpy or upset without knowing why. Others might feel numb, like they can't feel much of anything at all. Some might feel very nervous or find it hard to focus on one thing. This doesn't happen because they are weak. It happens because we weren't built to live far away from others forever while pretending that everything is perfectly fine. Here's the part that many men miss, and it can be quite tricky. When a person's natural need for love and closeness has no healthy place to go, they don't just sit still. They develop ways to cope. They build private habits and emotional shields. They create a whole way of living around surviving without what they need. Silence doesn't make the wanting go away. It just forces a person to deal with it all alone. Once you see this, you start to ask a much better question. What kind of woman becomes okay with living that way for such a long time? Not every woman who is single for years is there for the same reason. That is the first big mistake men make. They see a woman alone and think, oh, she just hasn't met the right guy. Sometimes that is the case, but many times there is a much deeper story. Some women get stuck in a way of thinking where everything is like a business deal. They stop looking at a relationship as a way to connect and start looking at it as a series of tests. Every man she meets is measured and compared to a list in her head. He has to prove over and over again that he is worth her time, her attention, or her heart. The sad part is that when a relationship feels like a never-ending job interview, the men who are actually healthy and kind will eventually leave. No one wants to spend years trying to earn a little bit of warmth from someone who uses love like a prize you have to win. Then there are women who are alone because fear has changed the way they feel closeness. When someone has been hurt very badly in the past or went through a painful divorce, they aren't the same person when they try to date again. One part of her still wants to be loved, but another part of her thinks that being close to someone is dangerous. It's like wanting to go swimming but being terrified of the water. So she keeps men far away, and then she wonders why she never feels a real connection. There are also many women who are stuck in an old version of themselves. A woman might remember the kind of attention she got when she was much younger, and she might find it hard to accept that life changes for everyone as we get older. Instead of enjoying the life she has now, she keeps looking for a fantasy that doesn't exist anymore. Because of this, every real man she meets feels like a disappointment. No living, breathing human can ever win a fight against a perfect memory from the past. Now, to be fair, not every woman who is single is having a hard time. Some choose to be alone for very good reasons. They might be focusing on a big job, taking care of their family, healing from a tough time, or dealing with health problems. Real life happens to everyone, but even when being single is a choice, it still changes how a person thinks over time. Whether she is alone because of fear or very high standards, or just by choice, the results of that loneliness still pile up quietly inside her. Some are alone because they can't trust, and others are alone because no one is quote-unquote perfect enough. Both paths eventually change how she sees herself. Our inner systems change when closeness disappears for a long time. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens very slowly, like a small leak in a pipe. Many women don't even know it's happening while it's happening. At first, being alone just feels like a little bit of a bother. Then months turn into years. Eventually, being without that emotional connection stops feeling like a short-term thing and starts feeling like a permanent way of life. And the body keeps track of all of it. Some women become much more sensitive. Little things that shouldn't matter start to feel like huge problems. They might lose their patience quickly or have big changes in their mood. Others go the other way and become flat. It becomes hard to get them excited, hard to reach their heart, and hard to move them emotionally. When you go too long without someone telling you it's going to be okay, or giving you a hug, your body starts to think that being alone is the new normal. This slowly starts to hurt how a woman feels about her own worth. She might never say this out loud, but after years of not feeling like someone really wants her, she starts to ask herself questions in the dark. Am I still pretty? Does anyone even see me? Then she looks at her friends who are getting married or having babies, and it feels even worse. She learns how to hide her hunger for love behind a calm, pretty face. This is why independence can be a bit of a trick. Some women are truly happy alone, but others are just really good at surviving loneliness without letting it show. Those are two very different things. The longer you go without being truly seen by someone else, the harder it is to believe that you are worth being chosen. When that empty feeling inside gets too big, people start looking for ways to make it stop. They don't always do this on purpose, and they don't always choose healthy ways. One of the most common things some women do is to separate physical closeness from real feelings. They stop looking for a deep connection and start looking for a way to just feel okay for a night. This is where casual dating comes in. Sometimes they spend time with men who aren't available because it feels safe. There are no big expectations and no risk of getting their heart broken. In the beginning, this can make a woman feel like she is in charge. She tells herself, I'm getting what I need without the trouble. She gets the attention and the touch, and then she goes back to her own life. But our hearts don't work like that. You can't really separate physical acts and feelings as easily as people say. Over time, training yourself not to care about the person you are close to changes you. A woman who spends years doing this might find that when she finally meets someone she actually loves, she doesn't know how to open up anymore. She has taught her body to be there, but her heart to stay hidden. Men often think she is just a cold person, but really, they are seeing a survival habit that has become part of her personality. On the other hand, some women don't turn to other people at all. They turn inward. This is a very quiet and private way of surviving. They learn how to take care of all their own needs without anyone else. At first, it feels much safer. No one can reject you if you're the only one there. She controls everything. But control can be like a medicine you take too much of. If you've been hurt, you want to control everything so it never happens again. Some women start to prefer this control over real love, because real love is messy and uncertain. They start to find the idea of a relationship exhausting. This is the hidden danger. Using things to feel better for a moment doesn't fix the loneliness deep down. It just makes it feel numb. Then there's the woman who uses being busy as a shield. She is always working, always at the gym, or always starting a new project. From the outside, she looks like she has it all together. People call her strong and successful, and maybe she is. But sometimes, all that moving around is just a way to make sure she never has to sit in the silence. Because when things get quiet, the old pain starts to come back. She fills every single hour so she doesn't have to feel. Our world loves this. We praise women for not needing anyone, but we don't ask if her independence is coming from a place of peace or a place of being tired of trying. Some women don't fix their loneliness. They just try to work harder than it. Other women use things like looking at their phones or watching endless shows or even eating too much to fill the gap. They look for little hits of happy feelings in their brain to cover up the empty space. After a while, this becomes who they are. They start to believe they actually like being far away from people because far away feels safe. But being safe isn't the same thing as being happy. You can be very good at surviving and still feel completely alone inside. Eventually, these ways of surviving stop being temporary and start becoming part of a person's character. They become the way she lives every day, and she might not even remember how to live any other way. This is what men get wrong most often. They meet a woman who has been single for a long time, and they judge her by how she acts on the surface. She might seem hard to read or a bit distant. She might pull away just when things are getting good. A man might think, that's just who she is. But usually, it isn't. It is her body trying to protect itself from more pain. If a woman has spent years protecting her heart, she doesn't just stop doing it because a nice guy showed up. Her body does it automatically, without her even thinking about it. This is why some women find it so hard to accept love, even when they want it more than anything in the world. They are so used to doing everything by themselves that needing someone else feels like a weakness or a danger to them. The moment things get serious, they start to panic inside. This is especially true for women who are very proud of being independent. Being part of a couple feels like losing control of their life. The tragedy is that the very walls she built to stay safe when she was alone are now the same walls that keep love out. The habits she learned to survive now make it hard for her to connect with another person. She is trapped by her own safety. It can get even darker than that. After enough years of being let down, some women stop just protecting their hearts and start protecting their story. They start to believe things like all men are the same, or relationships are just a big problem. These sound like opinions, but they are actually shields. If she believes all men are bad, she never has to try to love again. She never has to be vulnerable or open. Now, of course, there are bad people out there. Many women have real wounds from being lied to or treated poorly. But when you let that pain rewrite your whole world, healing becomes a scary thing. Healing would mean having to hope again. And hope is a very scary thing when you've been in survival mode for 10 years. Sometimes, staying distant feels much safer than trying to love. When a good, patient man finally does enter her life, it's not as easy as the movies make it look. He thinks his kindness will fix everything right away. But attraction doesn't erase years of training. She might want him close 1 minute and want him gone the next. She might be looking for reasons why it won't work, because she is used to things being difficult, not peaceful. This is very confusing for a good man. He is being honest, but she is still acting like he's a threat. He doesn't realize he's not just meeting her, he's meeting every single defense she built during those silent years. He is fighting ghosts he cannot see. Time spent alone doesn't always make someone wiser. Sometimes it just makes their armor thicker and heavier. That is why the history of a person matters so much. Not because we should judge them for what happened, but because the patterns we build when we are alone usually follow us into our relationships. If a man wants to truly know the woman he is with, he has to ask the right question. The wrong question is, does she have a past? Because everyone has a past. The right question is, what did her past turn her into? Two different women can go through the exact same 5 years of being alone. One might come out of it being softer, more aware of what she wants, and ready to truly love. The other might come out of it with a heart made of stone, unable to trust anyone. The difference isn't the pain they felt. It's whether they actually worked through the pain or just tried to hide from it. This is why you should listen to how a woman talks about her time alone. Does she speak with honesty and peace in her voice? Or does she sound angry and blame everyone else for her life? Can she see the things she did wrong too? Pain that hasn't been fixed always shows up eventually. It shows up in how she talks, how she trusts, and how she handles an argument. Many men make the mistake of only looking at how pretty a woman is or how much they like being around her. They ignore the patterns. But a person's history isn't about the events that happened. It's about what those events meant to them deep inside. You aren't looking for a woman with no scars. Those don't exist. You are looking for a woman who didn't let her survival mode become her permanent home. You are looking for someone who is still willing to be human, even if it hurts. The truth that might feel a bit uncomfortable is that years of being alone change every single human being. But today, a group of caring experts wanted you to see what happens beneath the surface for many women. A woman doesn't go through years without connection, without finding a way to cope with the lack of it. Some of those ways help her grow into a better person, but others create a distance that is very hard to cross. If you ignore this, you will never truly see the real person standing in front of you. The issue isn't that she was single. That's not the problem. The issue is what those years taught her body and her heart. Did they teach her how to be a better, more loving person? Or did they teach her that she doesn't need anyone and that being close is a big mistake? That makes all the difference in the world for a future together. I have seen women get stronger and more stable through their time alone. But I have also seen women become so used to being isolated that real, healthy love feels wrong or fake to them. It makes them want to run away. As a man, you need to see this early on. You cannot build a happy life with someone who feels safer being far away than being close. So look past how much you are attracted to her. Look at the patterns of how she lives. Watch how she deals with you being close to her. Listen to how she talks about her past and about men in general. The truth is always there if you look closely enough and listen with a kind heart. And if this way of looking at things helped you see your relationships more clearly, I hope you will share this perspective with someone else who might need a little help. Tell me honestly in the comments. Do you think being single for a long time makes a person wiser? Or does it just build a big wall around their heart? The most dangerous part of being alone isn't the quiet. It's getting so used to just surviving that you forget how to truly live and how to love another person fully. We were meant for more than just surviving. We were meant to be close, to be known, and to be loved for exactly who we are.